Barbie, Holiday Helpers by Diane Muldrow. It was a cold, clear winter morning, and Barbie felt as though she had the whole outdoors to herself. All she could hear was the sound of her cross-country skis gliding across the snow. What a perfect day, Barbie thought as she stopped to rest. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew her hat off her head and into the woods. Barbie skied between the trees until she finally caught up with her hat. It had landed by the wheel of an unusual-looking old car that was parked outside a quaint little cottage. "That's a great car," Barbie said to herself. "It must be at least 30 years old." Just then, Barbie heard the sound of hammering and saw a man busily working in a wood shop. The man heard Barbie's skis on the snow and looked up. "Good morning, young lady," he said. "Are you lost?" "Good morning to you too, sir," Barbie replied. "Actually, my hat was lost, but now I've found it." "My name is Peter Flanders," said the man. "You look cold. Would you like a cup of tea?" "Why, yes, Mr. Flanders, that would be nice," said Barbie. "My name is Barbie. I'm glad to meet you." Barbie stepped out of her skis and looked around the shop. It smelled of paint and freshly sanded wood. "Oh!" Barbie exclaimed as she looked around. "Look at all these beautiful wooden toys." Barbie picked up a wooden truck. "Wow, this one really rolls," she said, pushing it along the workbench. "Every year I make these toys for the underprivileged children in town," Mr. Flanders said. "But I'm afraid I'm not going to get them to the kids in time for the holidays this year. My old car just won't start in this cold weather." He shook his head sadly. "Don't worry, Mr. Flanders," Barbie said. "I can drive you and all these wonderful toys into town after we have our tea." Mr. Flanders' face brightened. "Really?" he said. "Oh, Miss Barbie, how can I ever thank you?" Barbie smiled. "You could let me interview you," she said. "I'm a television reporter for the evening news. You and your toys would make a great human interest story. Would it be all right?" "Why, certainly," said Mr. Flanders. Barbie asked to use the phone in Mr. Flanders' house. She called Jan, her story editor at the station. "Hi, Jan." "Hi, Jan. It's Barbie." "Yes, I was skiing, but I came across a great story." Barbie quickly described Mr. Flanders and his homemade toys. "It's a terrific idea, Barbie," said Jan. "Oh, good," said Barbie. "Can you send a crew to the city children's home? Mr. Flanders and I will be there in 2 hours. Luckily, I've got a suit in my luggage. I can't wear this ski outfit on TV. Thanks. Bye." Barbie quickly drank a cup of hot tea with Mr. Flanders. Then she stepped into her skis and set off through the woods in the fields near her car. When Barbie returned with her car, Mr. Flanders was waiting with a huge bag filled with his toys. "Mrs. Barbie to the rescue," said Mr. Flanders as he lifted the heavy bag into the trunk. The news crew was already at the children's home when Barbie and Mr. Flanders arrived. "Hello, everyone," said Barbie. "This is Mr. Flanders. Mr. Flanders, this is Katie, our sound engineer. Rob will be operating the video camera. Brian, our producer, will make sure the interview goes smoothly." Mr. Flanders led Barbie and the crew into the building. Then Katie attached a microphone to Mr. Flanders' sweater. Just then a group of children saw Mr. Flanders. They remembered him from the year before and rushed over to hug him. "Let's get that on tape," said Brian. "It'll make a great opener." Rob turned on the video camera and began to film the children with Mr. Flanders. Meanwhile, Barbie quickly changed into her suit and put on a mic. Then Barbie faced the camera. "Stand by, everybody. Quiet, please," said Katie. "This is Barbie at the City Children's Home," Barbie began. "I'm here with Mr. Peter Flanders. a self-taught toy maker. Today he's giving away his handmade wooden toys to the children here, just in time for the holidays. Let's see what he has in his bag. Rob zoomed in on Mr. Flanders. "This caboose is my favorite toy," Mr. Flanders said. "Kids love trains, so I made lots of them to give away today." "Mr. Flanders, why do you spend your time making toys for children?" Barbie asked. "I just like to see them smile," Mr. Flanders replied. Rob filmed Mr. Flanders as he handed his toys to the children. Finally, the taping was finished. "We'll put the story together in the studio, and tonight it will be on the news," Barbie explained to Mr. Flanders. "But first, I'd love to film you carving your toys." After the crew finished filming Mr. Flanders in his workshop, Barbie joined him in front of the camera. "Thanks to Mr. Flanders, many children will enjoy a very special holiday this year," she said. "I'm Barbie for the evening news, wishing you all happy holidays. Good night." The end.